Hey YouTube, I want to share with you this quick training that I did for my clients. We just finished a live event. We just finished a live next level experience event. And usually after they finish my events, they go back to their business, they go back to their lives on fire. But see, it's not sustainable to be in flow state 24/7. So we have to be able to strategize and see how can we tap into flow state more often. So that's what this training is about. You're gonna go behind the scenes of how I teach my clients how to tap into flow state more often so you can actually be more productive, have more business, and have more fulfillment in your life. Enjoy it. My name is Raul Villacis, and you're listening to the Daily Edge podcast. Learn the systems and the process that successful businessmen are using to take their lives and their business to the next level. How to tap into the flow state more often. The key here on progress is creating flow state more often, because it is unsustainable to be able to tap into flow state all the time. That's not possible. It's not sustainable to be in a flow state all the time. What is sustainable is to condition our mind to remember how to tap into flow state. That's what we need to do. How do we condition our mind to be able to tap into the flow state, to be able to be in flow and to be able to be productive and to feel that energy and to feel that certainty? But see, in order for us to do that, we have to have awareness. It takes awareness and discipline to be able to tap into flow state. Without the awareness, without discipline, we are always going to be reacting to life. So we're going to talk about the 5 ways to tap into flow state more often. So what are the 5 ways? Number 1 is you have to find the triggers that get you into flow state. That's the first step. Every single time that I feel like, man, I'm in a flow state, I go back and I journal. How did I get here? What was the trigger that got me into the flow state? So every single time that you feel like you're in flow state, I want you to write down, what did you do in order for you to get to the flow state? What are the patterns? Because the moment that you become aware and you start writing down what made you go into flow state, you start looking at some of the patterns and some of the triggers that get you to the flow state. Some of the triggers that we found is silence. Sometimes just being in a quiet space, you're able to kind of tap into the creative part of your mind, and nature also gets you to flow state. Every time maybe you go outside and you meditate in the beach, or you take a walk in the trees and with nature, that also gets you into flow state. At the same time, and anticipation. That's what we see when we're excited about something, that we're looking to anticipate something that's coming, also gets you into flow state. We use all those type of tactics out of live experiences to get men to tap into flow state. That's the reason that in 4 days, it feels like they've been with us for 4 weeks, because we use everything at our disposal to help them tap into flow state. That's the reason that they feel like they're being so productive and so present and so focused, because we use every aspect, every trigger that we could find to trigger the flow state. Also, competition. Competition gets people to flow state. Exercise, moving your body gets you in flow state. Music and extreme activities, some of those triggers that allow you to get into flow state. So that's exactly what we need to do. We need to write down and ask ourselves every single time, what gets me? What's my recipe to get into flow state? Because if we only focus on the things that we don't have, we only focus on the stress that we have, on all the negative things that are happening in our lives, we're not asking the right questions. The right question is, what's getting me in the flow? What's getting me to be productive? And it doesn't have to be that you're productive all day. Some people say, Raul, I haven't done nothing today. I said, well, if you get into a mindset of measuring that everything that you haven't done, you're always going to complain. But tell me, what have you accomplished? There's one thing that you could actually say you're proud of. And the moment I say, well, I did this, and when I was doing this, I was able to accomplish more in 10 minutes that I was able to accomplish in 1 whole day. Well, that's flow state. The problem is that we're not present to the flow state. We're not present to the activity. So therefore, we continue to complain. We continue to think that flow state is supposed to happen through the entire day, and it's impossible. It's not sustainable. You have to have micro moments of flow state. It could be a time that you were writing an email. It could be a phone call that you had. It could be a conversation. It could be in a presentation that you give a customer. It could be when you were playing with your kids. It could be when you were exercising. It could be when you were meditating. Those are the things that we need to start paying attention to. What brings us to flow state? The second thing is make time for flow state. Some of us, we think that flow state has to happen by coincidence. But no, you have to structure time. You have to make time. The moment that you know what triggers flow state, the moment that you're aware of what gets you into that state, then make time for it. Because you have to respect your time and flow. If you don't respect your time and flow, no one's going to respect your time. So teach your people. Don't let people interrupt your flow state. The moment that you respect your time and flow state, maybe you could put a sign in the door in your office that, hey, I'm like, don't interrupt me right now. Because you're in it. You're writing an email. You're creating a conversation. Whatever it is that you're doing, don't let people interrupt your flow. So the moment that you know what it is, respect the time and flow state. The third is be curious. Curiosity is always a trigger for flow state. Be curious. Don't stop. Continue to test and push the limits. Continue to find out more about what triggers the flow state. Continue to see, like, what else can I do? How else can I push the limits? In this past life experience with the guys we came to the boot camp, we tested them to the point that they knew exactly what creates flow state for them. And the moment that we stretch your mind, we stretch your mindset, and we push the limits, then we get you to tap into that creativity. That's the moment that you'll be able to reverse engineer what you want. Creativity keeps the mind active. Every time that you're bored, every time that you don't know what to do, that's the moment that you start having negative thoughts. Stress starts to linger. Doubt starts to sit in. Fear starts to creep in because your mind is that active. You have to allow your mind to be creative. What else can you do? And don't settle for an average experience. Don't settle for just a good enough experience. Continue to go to the next level. Continue to test and push the limits to find what else can you do if you continue to be in a flow state, maybe just a little bit more. And number 4, don't try to duplicate the experience. Some men that I work with and they come to the events and we do these extreme experiences and then they go back home and say, Raul, it wasn't the same. I don't get the same experience. So don't try to duplicate the flow state. Because at the end of the day, every single experience is different. The moment that you find the gift, every single flow state is unique. The key here is find the gift and being consistent. Find the gift and tapping into flow state over and over again. Because if you continue to chase that heightened experience or that heightened awareness, you're going to discount the micro doses of flow throughout the day. The key here is being consistent. And number 5 is don't let your mind sabotage your experience. Don't let your mind sabotage your flow. Because flow state is using the mind, not allowing the mind to use you. That's the difference. The moment that you don't rely on mind power or mindset to be able to will yourself to work, but with the moment that you're in flow, everything disappears. Time disappears. Your creativity enhances. That's the reason that this man that came to the bootcamp experience and they worked with me in 4 days. They were able to accomplish more than they probably experienced in months. Why? Because we know exactly what to do to get them into a flow state. And that's the moment that you start realizing that the mind is not using you, you're using the mind. So find the triggers that get you out of flow state to find and stop feeding that energy. The moment that you find the triggers that get you out of that flow state, you make a choice not to feed that energy. And that's one trigger that I usually use in my patterns is I know exactly what stresses me out. I know exactly what gets me out of flow. So I delegate those things. I delegate those tasks. I actually have teams that actually take care of the things that will get me out of flow state. Because mastery comes from awareness. When you realize that you are a work in progress, and the more you test, the more you push, the more you actually continue to find triggers about yourself, the better you're going to get. So the key here is to get around people that understand the path to mastery. Get around people that will support your growth. Get around people that you could have this type of conversations, because you will be influenced by those that resonate with you the most. Every single one of you, the reason that you're here in this community is because you want to grow. You want to tap into the next level. You want to find your edge. You want to get in flow. And the key thing is, how do you keep that connection? How do you keep that conversation going? How do you keep that brotherhood together? Because at the end of the day, the reason that we lose the edge is because we feel disconnected, that we feel that we're alone, that we feel that nobody gets this. We feel like we're the only ones with these challenges, the only ones with this burden, the only ones going through this. The moment you realize that you're not the only one, and plus, you're not the first nor the last. And there's some men that have gone through what you're going through right now, and they found the way, they found the solution. That's what's going to inspire you and get you to the next level. So to recap, there's 5 things that get you into flow state. Number 1 is find your triggers. Find your triggers that get you to flow state. Number 2 is make time to get in flow. Number 3 is be curious and don't settle for an average experience. Number 4 is don't try to duplicate the experience and make sure that you find the gift in every single time that you hit flow. And number 5 is don't let your mind control you or use you. Don't let your mind rob you from the experience. Because every single time that you operate from your mind, you're going to lose that game. Because for the mind, it's never enough. For the mind, you'll never be successful enough. For the mind, you're never going to be young enough, old enough, whatever it is that you feel you're enough. And that's the pattern that I see. And every single man that I work with is the gift and the curse. The gift because we always going to push for more. The gift is because we always going to try to accomplish more. And we're going to do more than the average man. The curse because we're never going to feel satisfied. Because we have this fear of not being enough. We have this fear of not being liked or failing. But the true fear is shining your light. Because who will you be if you give yourself the permission to shine your light? Who will you be if you give yourself the permission to be yourself? Who will you be if you give yourself permission not to give a fuck what other people think and just do you? Because you didn't come here to be average. You didn't come here just to be enough. Because the truth is that you're more than enough. You came here to shine, to lead, to expand. And the biggest fear is leading. Who am I to lead people into the light from the darkness? Because the game here is not to be like everyone else. You came here to stand out and fucking lead. So stop trying to be like everyone else. Stop trying to be liked. Focus on progress. Focus on going every single day the extra mile. That's how you keep yourself in flow. My biggest takeaway from training men just like you is every single time we have 2 choices. We either keep on moving forward, we go back and reverse. If you stay in neutral, you're going to be there for fucking decades. Every single day, I choose to move forward. I choose to level up. I choose to pursue greatness. Because I know the moment that I make that choice, life and the universe will support my growth, will support and give me everything that I need. It may not be the way that I want it. It may not be the way that I see it. It's going to be exactly what's supposed to happen. So comment right now if you ever felt this way. Comment right now in the chat or comment right now in the workplace if you ever felt this way. You ever felt that you were not enough? You ever felt that you were overwhelmed? What were the triggers that made you feel that way? How did you break the patterns? Because the moment that you acknowledge those feelings, the moment you acknowledge those emotions, then you bring awareness. And then also, what makes you get in flow? What gets you into the flow state? If the feeling of not being enough is when you focus maybe in your business that's not growing, maybe you focus in your relationship that's not going anywhere, maybe you focus in your health that you may be overweight or you don't have enough strength. If you focus on that, that gets you out of flow. So we have that awareness. But what about what gets you into flow? So what gets you excited? Are you thinking about the future? Is the future getting you excited or is the past getting you excited? Where can you create a compelling future? Where can you create the strategy to be able to pull you or find the gift from the past? We have to become masters of our patterns. We have to allow our mind to work for us instead of us working for the mind. Understand that what we do here is not mindset. The first level is mindset. The second level, the next level is consciousness. We're here to increase your conscious level. We're here to increase the level that you operate, not from the fucking head, but from the voice that's coming in from inside of you. And that's only accessible the moment that you tap into flow. The moment that you go into the subconscious mind and allow your subconscious mind to remember. Remember who the fuck you are. That's the one thing that I promise every single man that works with me. I'm not here to teach you anything. I'm here to help you remember who the fuck you are. Because I know the moment that you remember, the moment that you could see what I see, the moment that you see that you were born for greatness, the moment that you see that every single time, life and God, the universe is supporting you in every single second, every single moment. There's not a time in your life when you were left alone. Ever since you came into this earth, you will guide it. And who are you to argue with that? Who are you to argue with reality? Allow yourself to trust in the infinite intelligence, to trust in God and the universe to push you, to propel you to the next level. The only reason that we stress the fuck out is because we don't have enough faith, enough strength, enough emotional fitness to realize that we're the only ones that are getting in the fucking way. The reason that we do the extreme experiences is to get out of the fucking way. Because the moment that you realize who the fuck you are, the moment that you realize that you're choosing this experience, that you are the one stuck in the problem, and all we have to do is let you see who you truly are, the game changes. So my intention for you is to give yourself the permission to shine your light, because you are enough. You don't have to be liked. You don't have to be accepted by anybody but you. The moment that you give yourself the permission to just to be you and do you, the game will change. If you like this podcast, send me a text from a community platform at 203-405-9199 for exclusive content and direct access to me so I can take your life to the next level. That's 203-405-9199. Send me a text now.